I call on the Honourable Casey Costello.
Mr Speaker, I speak on behalf of New Zealand First as part of the Government's response to the Royal Commission's report into historical abuse in state care and in the care of faith-based institutions. Firstly, I would acknowledge the powerful words that have been spoken already today. I would also acknowledge the nearly 3,000 survivors who shared their experiences of abuse and neglect with the Commission. For those of you who are here today, welcome and thank you. For those who have not made it to this day, for those who have passed, it is my hope they know that we all in this House are hearing your voices, seeing your faces and feeling your pain. The report we are speaking to today has captured the attention of our nation and brought so many together to hear and hopefully to understand. I particularly want to acknowledge those of you who are here today. It is being here that makes these pages come to life. When in the coming days, weeks and months that we come together to discuss, reflect and respond, it will be your faces that keep us focused on the pathway forward. This is the day when Parliament has come together to speak to you all, not just to those of you who are here, but to all the voices that were not previously heard, all the faces not previously seen, and the experiences not previously believed. The Royal Commission's report brought you to visit Parliament, perhaps for some of you, the first time. I hope that it now becomes your Parliament and a place where you can feel that the House of Representatives is not talking about you, but that we are representing you. No matter your politics, no matter your party affiliations or political outlook, I believe every member in this chamber knows that the key role of the state is to protect our most vulnerable. Every society should be judged by how we care for and protect those who need it most. This report is our judgment. We are here today recognising that this is a shameful part of New Zealand's history. As a society and as the Crown, we should have done better. As you have heard already today, we are determined that we will do better, not through political posturing, but through a collective will. When we enter this House as the elected representatives of New Zealand, we make what is called our maiden speech. The first words you speak to introduce who you are, the first words that tell the world about why you were brought to this place, and more importantly, what you aspire to achieve. One of the most common messages you will hear in those maiden speeches is the desire to be able to come together across the political divide to truly make a difference. It is clear to me, and from the words spoken here, we are united to make that difference, and I thank you for bringing us to this place. I have been part of the ministerial group that was established by Cabinet to guide the Government's response to the Royal Commission's recommendations, and I can assure you of the passion, determination and commitment led by Minister Stanford to achieve what we are promising here today. It is my belief that we have an opportunity, we have the will, and we will continue to do better well beyond today. Early in my working life, I joined the police. It is now many years since I ended that part of my career, but in the 14 years of my service, I looked into the eyes of many victims. No matter how long it has been and how far away from that work I have ventured, I still see those eyes and I see those faces. Whether it was a child who had been the victim of recent abuse and the wounds were still visible and the pain still evident, or whether it was a grown adult who was recounting the pain from many years ago, the experiences have never left me. I can still see the pattern of a pair of pyjamas. I can still see the colour of their eyes that had lost the ability to shed tears. I can recall a turn of phrase in recounting events of trauma and pain. I can still be returned to those events and those instances of suffering, no matter how long ago I was involved in the investigations. I can be taken back to that place by a smell, a pattern, or a word. It is hard to comprehend how, as a survivor, that recall must impact you every day. It was through walking through that journey from victim to survivor that I am able to begin to understand how hard your journey has been. And in some way, it helps me understand what it must have been like for those who have shared their experiences in the report, having to fight so hard to be heard. Even when a victim is immediately heard, when they are immediately responded to and intervention put in place, it is still a hard journey to walk. To have to fight to have your story heard is a pain that I cannot even begin to reconcile in my mind. I tried to reconcile a particular face that I see often when I close my eyes. Not because of the suffering he endured, this poor little boy was tortured, but because of the absolute shining light of joy that he showed when he smiled. The saddest thing was that despite all the suffering, the joy came from the smallest act of kindness. He was given a lollipop from a nurse and his face lit up, and I still see that smile. As I've been reading these pages and absorbed the accounts of abuse, it reminds me that for these survivors, for all of you, who had so little shown to you in way of kindness and love, it would have been such small interventions that could have made a difference and for a moment brought you some joy. Perhaps today, as we speak and recognise the strength, resilience, perseverance and courage, there will be some light. Mr. Speaker, today is significant. The Royal Commission's report is now public. Most importantly, survivors' stories are now public. New Zealand can read these and reflect. As the public and all of us read, reflect and absorb, I would also like to acknowledge those who worked to bring it to us, the commissioners and all those who committed to a journey that at its start had no clear destination. Pathway changed and it was a longer process than we first considered. I know how hard it is looking into the face of suffering. Thank you all for bringing this report to us. We are not yet at a destination. The government is continuing to digest the Commission's final report. This report was 6 years in the making. The response cannot be rushed. It needs to be considered with respect and care. So many lives have been affected over so many years. You are individuals. You have your own views reflecting your own experiences, including how we should respond to the recommendations and findings made by the Royal Commission. We know, however, that survivors have waited a long time for this report and are eager to see action. We owe it to people to understand what happened and to ensure we deliver our response with the respect and dignity it deserves. We know, however, that survivors have waited a long time for this report and are eager to see action. But for today, in this place, you should know you are seen, you are heard, you are valued, and you are believed. It has been a hard and painful. It will have been hard and painful to share your story. It has been hard and painful to read it. However, you must know that after we all leave this place, when we have taken the action agreed and delivered what is needed, your story will never fade out. We have heard your voice, we have seen your face and felt your pain. Today, you have changed lives, moved hearts and opened eyes. Thank you.
Call on Debbie Ngāti Wapeka.